What's up, everybody? I'm here with Max from TraxNYC.
Yeah, put that on top of it.
Mr. President, I've had to hide my love for you for a long, long time.
Jenny got that honey.
Not again.
Oh, shit, boy.
With that gremlin shit.
It's like, he was like really nice and genuine, which, you know, it's crazy because he's such a superstar.
But when I met you for the first time here, I didn't really like you, bro. Welcome to America, bro.
We're here in New York City in the Diamond District. Tell everybody what's up, Trax, and a little bit about you.
Yo, what's going on, guys? We got a jewelry business out here that I've built from scratch over the course of 19 years.
And he's killing it. And so let's talk about the power of a personal brand. You know, I was just telling you how Donald, Carlos's brother, when I told him I was coming to see you, he was like, what? That's crazy.
Right.
However, if I told him any other jeweler in the city, he would have no idea, right? So obviously, you being an online business and then getting a lot of people coming through here, because of your personal brand, how important is a personal brand in business, especially in the jewelry business?
It's very important. I mean, jewelers are known by the individual, and even the Tiffany and Cartier and all these guys that have been dead for a long time, Audemars and Piquet, they are all individuals that, you know, had to develop a business around themselves. So it's obviously very important.
Now, how much of your business is because of your personal brand?
Well, the personal brand is the business, in essence. Now, if you're just some guy who's selling gold chains in a booth that nobody knows, it's you're gonna have to sell by having the cheapest price or having some nonsense. But if you're not developing a name, I mean, it just doesn't make sense. You know, it's like saying I sell sodas, but you know, it's not Coca-Cola, it's not Pepsi, it's just soda.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, I sell, you know, cola. You got to have some sort of brand behind it, and you have to develop that over time.
So is that a Rolex?
Yes.
Right? So Rolex, right? Brand that everybody knows.
Right.
I'm sure somebody could...
Somehow.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably the #1 watch brand, right? The most known watch brand.
Yes.
So I think a personal brand is super important, which is why I'm building the podcast, which is why I'm trying to interview people like you. Mm-hmm. And I think the personal brand is super, super, super important. And people always think that it's too late to get in on podcasting or creating content or whatever. When did your personal brand really take off? When did you start to realize, like, oh shit, this is bigger than, you know, than I expected?
That moment never really particularly happened, but the reason why it's growing is because of the viral views and things like that. So I'm basically seizing the opportunity that's presenting itself now in this particular environment of shorts, TikTok, Reels. Okay, so that is what's giving me the opportunity to talk to millions of people. And you know, right now on YouTube, it's like 8 million views a day, which is kind of peaking out. And in essence, in total, I had about 1 billion views, a little bit more, maybe, I hope. You know, in total over time. And that's what gives me the opportunity to build a brand, because you know, it's not 1 billion views of me doing something negative or something stupid, or, you know, acting like a thought or something like that. It's 1 billion views of me explaining gold, giving away gold, doing money, doing this, doing that, explaining business. So I'm pretty satisfied with that aspect of it. But that's the opportunity that's leading me, giving me this position.
Right. So when you started, you and I kind of talked about you struggling your way up, and that's how you figured it out. That's how I did it too. Mm-hmm. But one thing that you said that really stood out to me is you didn't know that all this information was there. And it kind of seems when you figure something out, like, fuck, it was really easy if I just had this blueprint. Right. If somebody out there is struggling financially, or they just feel like they're not going somewhere, mm-hmm. where do they find this info? You know, I suggest YouTube, but if you were starting over and you didn't know shit, where would you go, knowing what you know now? The
thing that opened up my eyes the most was Warren Buffett and understanding. But I had a knack and understanding of business before that. And then when I saw Warren Buffett, it really cleared my mind to just practical thinking that, you know, like some of the mistakes I was making in business is I'd I'd have a bad employee and I would struggle with them and I'd try to make them better, or I'd try to make them this, or no. Right, one of the stories Warren Buffett says is like, or Charlie Munger, his partner, like, you got a horse. So this guy's complaining that he got a horse. He's like, I bought this beautiful horse. It's wonderful. Except once in a while, it bites me. Okay? So what do I do with it? He takes it to the vet and he goes, the vet, what do I do in this situation? The vet goes, well, next time your horse isn't biting you, sell it. Stop trying to ride a bicycle up a hill all day long and doing a bunch of other shit. Get rid of the problem, move on, and go where the water flows downhill and everything. You know, if you don't have the tool for it, then don't do it. And that's it. And, you know, stop struggling with certainty. Just identify the issue and keep it moving. And that's really what works in business. You have to kind of understand that thinking, and that's just a glimpse of it. But that was, you know, the practical thinking that I needed, and then everything fell into place. You know what I'm saying? Like, for another example, how did that apply to me? Well, you know, you have Amazon and you have eBay, and eBay with their fees, and eBay with their policy, and Amazon with this, and if you don't sell, and you built a whole business, and then your rating goes down to a 3.5 or some shit, and then they throw you off, and the shipping and this and that. If you don't want to deal with that, then don't. You know, that's why I built my own website, TraxNYC's.com, and so on and so forth. But then again, what is business? Business is an activity. All right? Business is an activity. It's a productive activity. Spiders are in business. They set up a web, and, you know, the web is sticky, and if they set it up in the right spot, they're going to be in good business. Bees are in business, right? They go and they buzz around, they collect nectar, they bring it back, they convert it to the honey, and so on and so forth. It's an activity that yields a profit, essentially. And, you know, I'm in the jewelry. I manufacture the jewelry. I bring it to the marketplace. I set that up, and I keep the difference, and that's my business. So business is a activity, and you have to make a lot of decisions, and you have to make the right decisions. If you got the wrong thinking and the wrong perspective about the world, you're already built into your thinking is failure. And I see that in people, and you can't break them free from their delusions. You know, you can't break them free, and that seals their fate. So, you know, the people watching this, I want them to be successful, and I want them to take away from to be whatever it is. So there's people watching this. Some people watching this are gonna hear what I'm saying, and then it's just they're gonna set a couple of dials in their mind, and they're gonna be on their way. And some people are not gonna understand it, you know. And those are the people that are sitting there and they're like, you know, you hear a lot of this shit, positive thinking or manifestation or the planets are in retrograde or this. None of that shit means anything. You're not going to go to the most successful people in the world and they're manifesting any fucking thing. Okay? Or they're positive thinking. Jeff Bezos owns Amazon, right? How did he start Amazon? He started with the right move. He started with books. Books are something that's easy to store. You don't need a refrigerator to store books, right? You don't need anything, you know, it's not hazardous materials. Books are something that's easy to search because they all have a title. They're easy to digitally organize. And if you use those parameters that books enable you, you will be able to start a business. If he started a business with paper towels or plastic forks or all the shit that he does now, he wouldn't have been successful because that would have been too much work. He started off with the one product that had the best parameters for his business. He was able to identify that product. He wasn't manifesting. He wasn't thinking and dreaming and wishfully thinking and reading his horoscope that day. He was picking the right parameters, and that happened to be books that could be stored, that need demand, that was ready for the internet, that people could trust on the internet, because different people wanted different books. They all have different titles. You go to the library, you got to look for a book, you got to go to that section, you got to look through what if someone took that book out and put it in a different section? Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. It's not practical. It's way more practical to just search up a book on Amazon. And especially if you're buying used books, you're going to have an advantage over every bookstore in the world. And he understood that, and he was able to start Amazon, and now he could fucking build a space station if he wants to. Because he was a practical thinker. So if you're starting a clothing business and you realize that hats are the number one easy seller, and that's really good because hats are easy, you know, to size, or you're starting out with a practical product, You know, but you got to figure out what the parameters are. You got to have the vision. You got to make that happen. That's pretty much what it is.
Insane. Yeah, and I think you're right. And I do think that there's something to manifesting, meaning like your subconscious mind filters shit out. So your subconscious mind sees things different than most people, right? So you're able to identify situations like in the early 2000s when you decided to go online and put something online. That's because you manifested that reality.
Indeed.
But it's not magic.
But
you know?
I don't want people to get confused because they're looking at their lives and they're saying, well, maybe I'm not manifesting properly or something like that. That's not what the fuck you need to do. Sure, you can have positive thinking. Sure, you can have a goal. And sure, you can do this. But if people are going to keep telling you that, they're going to confuse you. Okay? Because that's not how it's going to work. You need to make good decisions. You need to hire the right people and make practical, good choices. I could have been 10 times richer than I am now if I understood that when I'm starting. Because instead of feeling like a victim or doing this or having any emotion at all, I would have just practically found the right product, manufactured it early, and stuck with the right product and been able to use that to generate the necessary capital to take over the world or do whatever the fuck is next. Again, if Jeff Bezos didn't start with books and he started with the wrong product that had different... Books don't have small, large, and medium. Books, you know what I'm saying? They don't have all sorts of... parameters that are undesirable, right? Like clothing. Books don't need to be returned as much. You don't try on a book and say it's not the right size. So all these headache fucking products, books are not super heavy that you can't ship. It's not like you're selling carpets online. You got to ship a carpet, then they got to ship it back. Furniture, they got to assemble it. If fucking Jeff Bezos started out selling furniture instead of books, he wouldn't have finished Amazon. Some other company would have came in, would have made it fucking happen, and he would have been nothing nobody. But it's not that. But you have to be looking with your mind's eye for the right choice and strategic business and advantage. And if you're doing anything else and you're listening to exterior sources, that's why I was beginning to say the world is fucking insane. They're going to give you bad advice. They're going to send you into crazy places. In school, and they're teaching a bunch of crazy shit there, or how to do business. And they're all wrong. You gotta think practically, and that's a very simple switch to flip in your mind. I remember I had a teacher come in here from Columbia University, and she's bringing in her students to learn, or something like that, to me. I never went to school, and she's bringing them in, and I said something, and she never came back again. Because she's coming in and she's like, yeah, we have 30 million to spend. I'm like, okay, 30 million to spend. She was talking about on marketing on the radio. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Pretend money. She's spending pretend money and she's telling me how much she spent 30 million and how on the radio and this. I'm like, if you're going to do that, you're just going to mislead these fucking kids into thinking that's how you market. You got to sit, and she wasn't even properly quantifying. How does the world work? It boils down to numbers. How old you are, how much is your rent, how much you get paid, how much you get paid per hour. The time is by the hour. Everything is quantified, right? And you have to boil down. If you're going to spend $1 million on advertising, it has to reach 100 million people. Out of that 100 million people, 10% have to buy. Out of that 10% to buy, 2% return, then you're left with that 8%. Are you going to quantify the profit margin off of that 8% in sales? What's your margin of error there? And then you're good to go. If you didn't fucking do your math and you didn't do your basics, and you're wishing upon a star for business, then you're fucked.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, I think that, and that's why I never, when I get to the age where I was supposed to go to college, I think I just saw through it. Like, most of these college professors don't even know what they're talking about.
They don't know shit.
I want to go into business. Why don't I go work for a business and learn? And luckily, that's how I, how
about this? If you're in a college course and you want to learn business, why doesn't the whole fucking classroom start a business right then and there? Because that would bring you into reality where you can't just have this and that. You got 30, let's say there's 30 people in a classroom. That's 30 employees. The biggest expense in a business is the staff. So you got 30 employees that are paying to go to school. So they could sit here and they could work for free because they're going to school anyway. Why don't they sit here and work for free and start some sort of a business, start some sort of operation and learn the ins and outs and what the fuck that takes on a practical sense? because they don't want to do that, because then the illusion will go away. I went to community college for a little while, and they were teaching us business, and you had to get the business book, the business the textbook. And they're saying, because the school textbooks are so expensive, that you could buy it without bindings. You ever heard this? To save money?
Yeah.
Motherfuckers, bro. You can't buy the previous years because they change it every year. Why do you think they do that? Because they're fucking you over. So the chapter 1 should be say, hey, we just fucked you over. You could save $1 on bindings. But you can't buy last year's model because we change a couple of words around and make you buy a new one. That's a business lesson for you. And they're selling you a business book, and you're buying it and trying to learn business when they're fucking you in the business. It boggles my mind. And I saw that then, but I looked to the left. Teacher doesn't say anything. The other students don't say. Let's all go along. Fuck that. If you're going to go along with that, then you're done already. You're going to have to figure out the world on your own. The world is wrong, and you're going to have to figure out what's right. Because if the world was right, it would look different.
Yeah, I mean, programming, right? That's why they call TV programming, because it gets everybody just to. I mean, you look at it, right? From when you go to school as an American kid, you grow up, you go to elementary school, you stand for the flag, you recite things, you show up, you follow a bell, and you do this, and all of a sudden you realize that that's all you do your entire life unless you change something.
Right.
And I don't know, I never really thought that school made sense. Not saying education isn't important, education is critical, but you don't have to get your education from a college or a high school or like...
Let me chime in right here. The year is 2023. It's not 1823. Where you'd have to go and, you know, you're either stuck on a farm or you go and you have to... 2023, go on YouTube. If you spend 5 hours a day looking for business on YouTube and watching business lectures, 5 hours, fuck 5, even 5 hours a week if you're young, right? Within a certain amount of time, you're going to be advanced in business. The information is there in video form. It's not even you got to go to the public library and start reading some bullshit and skimming through a bunch of nonsense which you don't understand. It's there in video form. Starters to beginners, people are making content, they want to get your views. You got Warren Buffett, you got this, you got that, you got Steve Jobs, you got here, you got there. You've got the video we're doing now, which is I'm assuming that you're watching. So you have all that content out there, and if you're using it like you should be at this moment, then you're on your way. You got to absorb it from different angles and different directions. So that institution, the educational institution, is definitely good if you're trying to become a doctor or a lawyer, but not in business, not in the business world.
Yeah, that's exactly what I always say. I want my lawyer or my doctor to get good education at a good school, but that's because they can't find it outside of there. You don't want to learn in an alleyway how to do a surgery, right?
Right.
Although that happens too. All right, so let's switch gears a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about like the business that you're in, and also you got robbed at gunpoint.
Yes.
Right? I want to hear about that. What was that like?
Well, that was wasn't even that bad, to be honest. I mean, these guys just were looking for Richard Mille watches after I ate dinner someplace. I came out back and they popped out. They were doing robberies up and down the city. They're all in jail now and shit, but they popped out with guns. And, you know, they wanted the watches and wanted this, wanted that, and, you know, I gave it to them. And then stayed up till 5 in the morning with the police, and filling out this and doing that and going to do this and doing that, and that was that.
It's like $150,000 worth?
Yeah.
Yeah. But insured, right? So.
Yeah, it was insured, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, well, listen, I mean, there's nothing good about it, but it happened, so what the fuck can you do? You gotta be careful.
I mean, it's better than not having insurance.
This is real life, yeah.
So you deal with a lot of celebrities, right? And people
unfortunately.
now. Do you not like dealing with celebrities?
No.
Why?
Because they're pieces of shit, bro.
Yeah. So what happened with Scott Disick? I saw.
Case in point.
Yeah.
Just an entitled little bitch using his celebrity to the fucking leverage to the most, treating people like shit. You know what I'm saying? Demanding shit, you know? You want to be courteous with somebody. You don't want to tell them, hey, you can't touch that, you can't do that. Yeah, but, you know, they use that to the advantage, and, you know, I had to rip him. That's it. That's what happened.
Yeah.
He thought it was a game, but I was, you know, he wasn't the one. I wasn't going to get played by Scott.
That's good. So what? He took some chains or something?
Yeah, he took some stuff, and then he said one thing, then he said another. He was just trying to play a game. And then, you know, I told him, Scott, I did this, I did that. This is your end of the bargain. And he started to cry like a fucking bitch. And he was like, I'm going to block you. And he had my shit and he blocked me. I'm like, you fucking idiot, bro. Fuck you. He doesn't understand that he's not some beloved celebrity.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's a fucking person that nobody gives a fuck about. So he gave me an opportunity to rip his ass and I took it.
Well, and a lot of celebrities too. I mean, I think time's running short because the mainstream celebrities are now turning into nobodies, and people like you, people who have a social media presence, are kind of taking their spot, which is crazy, right?
To some degree, I mean, not really. You know, it all depends on a case-by-case basis. There's a lot going on in the world today with a lot of different people and personalities and comedians and this and that. You know, so it's more people fighting for attention. There's more people fighting for attention, and it's different, leads to different opportunities. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, you know, a girl that was hot, but she wasn't a model, she'd just be some hot chick at the bar. But now she could go on OnlyFans and, you know, she could do this. But then that happens, but then this happens. So it's a big game out there, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just playing it for my brand. It's, you know, it kind of sucks, really. You know, it's a sad world when you boil it down. You got to get yours, you got to get your space, and you got to get out of the hustle, because the hustle is brutal, especially in America, especially at this time. You know, everything's a fucking problem, everything's a fucking issue. You know what I'm saying? The people, this and that. You know, you can't even ride the subway here without some bullshit going on. You can't just get to work normally. Either the subway is gonna stop, or somebody's gonna bother you, or someone's gonna get stabbed, or someone's gonna, you know, take a fucking piss in the train car. Who knows? It's a city, especially in New York and in America. There's a homeless, then it's the Democrats, then it's here, then it's a war, then it's a bunch of bullshit. You want to own your land. You want to have everything like the patriarch, you know, Abraham. You know what I'm saying? You have your flocks and you're this and you're not even in the Bronze Age. You want to be able to have your peace and your control over your environment and not be in the fucking hustle bustle out there. So, you know, so just to your point, you know, celebrities or the social medias out there, I want to set my shit up. I want to get out there. I don't give a fuck if anybody knows me or nobody knows me. I want to set up my business, get that done, build a brand, and be able to kind of fall back and take it easy. Because the level of stress that I hustled at is beyond what the fuck the average person could even handle.
You gonna fight Nico?
I'm gonna beat the shit out of Nico at this point because he's pissing me off. But he's being a little bitch. He doesn't want to do it. And I gotta demean him and go to Ireland and press him.
You want to go to Ireland tomorrow?
I'm not gonna go tomorrow because I want to set that trip up and I have a lot of other shit to do. Got to see Mr. Beast and shit like that. Hopefully work that out. But yeah, so not tomorrow, but I'm gonna get to it. I'm gonna milk him, push him. And it's something I got to do.
He's in Belfast, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That'll be cool. Well, I can't wait to watch that. Guys, listen, what's your website? TraxNYC.com?
Yes.
Guys, go to TraxNYC.com. Buy some shit. Seriously, if you're going to buy jewelry, you're going to get a fair price here. And he paid me nothing. We came in and bought
I appreciate the business.
Things.
That's a beautiful link.
Yeah, and they gave us a great deal. But seriously, go to TraxNYC, buy some shit, follow your boy Trax. And Trax, if you want to leave the audience with one last positive message.
The battle is within. You know, the world can seem big, it can seem large, it can seem complicated, but the world is just a very simple set of parameters. The battle is within your own mind. Win the war within yourself to figure out how to really think clearly, and then the world will fall right into place.
Love it, dude. Dude, thank you so much.